Now some people are going to say, well, where do I find these people? The odds are very good that you already know them. You probably already know them. You just don't have them in there yet. Where do you find people? Well, you start with your own cell phone. When you're done with that, you go to maybe your spouse's cell phone, your siblings' cell phones, your parents' cell phones, your kids' cell phones. Then you go to your Facebook account. And you look down that massive list of strangers, friends, okay? And you find the ones that you actually know, okay? And then you stop and you think about all those people in your life in the past, the job that you used to have, the high school and the college that you went to. And you need to get all of those people in there because it's only going to make your life better. The bigger your sphere of influence is and the better you systematically communicate with it, the better your life becomes. You will make more money and you'll be doing it much, much easier than working this side. I was doing one of these last night and I had one of those very blunt brokers sitting in the back of the room. We were talking about this side. They haven't met side. He goes, that's grunt work. Exactly right. You're going to make more money by doing less of the grunt work if you focus on your sphere. I can't stress this enough. Pete, sick of it yet? How many years have you been hearing this now?
12 years.
12 years Pete's been hearing it, but Pete's going to sell how many houses this year?
I know. I'm not calculating right now.
It's going to be about 65, 70, something like that. Okay, so it works. It works. It works. All right, so everybody got that? I swear I won't say anything else about that. It's in my DNA. I have to bang it in a little bit. Dean, you must have something to say on that.
I think you said it all, Greg. But
Wow.
It's with a lot of repetition. But the beauty is that you're driving the point home. Because
That's right.
Ultimately, it's the path of least resistance. Because we spend too much time trying to get people to know us, like us, and even trust us when everybody's teaching you to go after these leads. And we all have a long list of people who know us, like us, and probably already trust us. Right. So why are we spending all of our time trying to convince people we're great when many people already know that we're great and are more than happy to help us succeed? And that's the thing. You're asking people to help you succeed. If you think of the friends that you have who are running their own business, and you're out to help them, you're offering to help, you ask them for business cards, you're referring people in their business every day. Your friends want to do the same to you. But you can't do that, or they can't do that without your ask. You need to be willing to ask.
That's right. That's right. Well said. Okay, next question that it's going to ask us is this. All right, so we have a total number 250. It says we need to add 11 more. Okay, contacts to be added right away is 11. How many more will you add this year? Can you all add one more person a week to your database? Yeah. Can you do that? Of course you can. In fact, it'll probably happen without you even trying. It'll just going through life and doing business, you're probably going to meet a new person each week to get top of mind from. So let's say we're going to add 50 more people. And again, if I'm going to get business from 1 out of every 10, I didn't add 50 people. I added 5 more sales to my database. That's how I really want you to look at that, okay? You just added 5 more sales to your database. All right, so now here comes the big question. How many times do I have to reach out to this person to get that top of mind that I've been talking about? Well, again, lots of research has been done, not just by realtors, by anybody who's in this lead generation industry. We have determined how many touches does it take. It takes a minimum of 30. Now, that makes a lot of people look up. What? That's too many. See, that's where our limiting beliefs and our negative mindsets kick in. We don't even know what the touches are yet, but we know 30 is too many. Okay? I'm going to bother people. People aren't going to like me. Listen, this stuff that I'm talking about right now, I literally do a 12-hour course on it. 12 hours it would take to explain all of this stuff properly. What I need you to understand is this. It's not going to bother people if you do it properly. So I know this is a little off subject, but it's part of this sheet as far as I'm concerned. What do those 30 plus touches look like? Because here's the thing, again, you can't rely on a business plan if you're not going to do what it takes to make this business plan happen. Okay? So to me, my business plan, my 33 touches is a combination of emails, postcards, sphere calls, and I put that in quotes, sphere calls, handwritten thank you notes, handwritten thank you notes, and a personal touch like their birthday. Now, let me ask you very quickly if any of these things are going to bother you. Not as the realtor actually doing it, as the person receiving it. Once a month, you get an email from me. Is that bothering anybody?
No.
No. Once a month, you reach into your mailbox and you get a postcard from me. Now, other than looking at it and throwing it away and saying, that probably cost Greg a buck, is that going to bother you? No. 4 times a year, with their permission, you're going to do exactly what I did at the beginning of this class. Who remembers what I did at the beginning of this class?
We did our business card.
Well, no, I told you I am here to get them business. Because if I don't say it, the odds of it happening are considerably lower. But once again, I'm going to ask you, please, if you like what I'm doing today, give these guys some business, okay? I need you to do the same thing with your friends and family. Hey, listen, if you know someone, I need you to keep me in mind because that's how I make my money. Okay? 4 minutes a year on real estate. Is that bothering anybody other than you who's making the call? And hey, you're getting paid for it, so. Is that bothering anybody? Listen to the silence, Dean. Listen to that.
Like, oh, I have to talk to people?
I have to talk to you. Wait a minute, nobody told me that.
Can we just text?
Can we just text? Sometimes, you can text now and then, but no, you still have to make some phone calls. When I finish the phone call, I'm going to immediately send you a handwritten thank you note that says, hey Dean, thanks for taking a minute to help me grow my real estate business. I hope you realize how much that means to me. If I can ever return the favor, please don't hesitate to ask. Now, if I call you up and say to you, hey, listen, I need some business, you know, well, I'm not going to say it that way, but basically I'm giving that point across is, hey, listen, I work by referral. And I need you to remember that I'm in real estate and that I work by referral. So if you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell, if you could give me a call, that would be great. And then I follow it up with a thank you card. Am I getting top of mind? Am I getting impact now? Remember, when you make that sphere call, you're not going to get a lot of leads on the outgoing call. The leads will come from incoming calls as a result of your outgoing call. See, a lot of people start to make these calls, and go, well, I'm not getting any leads, I'm not doing that anymore because they're still uncomfortable doing it. You have to make this call over and over again, and the calls come in, right? Okay, everybody with me? And how many birthdays do most people have? It's 33 touches. So I'll ask you again, is that bothering anybody? 2 of them even
What
said
do you
no.
do for their birthday? Just the birthday card?
I just send a card or a phone call. I'm big on phone calls. Again, my old broker beat into my head that you get everybody's birthday and you put it in your calendar, and every year. I honestly call people for their birthdays that I haven't seen in 15 years. Absolutely.
Do voicemails count when you're making those?
Yeah, to me they do. To me, and again, that's more of a question for the big course that I do on this stuff. I used to say, no, you have to call them 3 times, and then it can... And then I realized no one's doing it. So you know what? As long as you make the call, and if they don't answer, leave a voicemail because the purpose is top of mind anyway. So I can get it from the voicemail just as easy as I can get it from talking to them. So yeah, I say yes. I say yes. Do you agree with that, Dean? I'm curious.
I agree. Yeah,
it's a mind
absolutely.
shift for me.
Well, people are busy. They're not going to be
Right.
able to take your call, you know, and so the impact is there when they listen to the message,
Yep.
or send a quick video wishing them a happy birthday, or you know, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, now visually you're making an impact as well.
That's right.
But if you don't feel you're going to be able to reach them, and your only point is just to make sure they know you're thinking of them so that they think of you in return,
Yep.
you know, definitely, you're not going to pound it into somebody, call me back, I want to wish you a happy birthday.
Worst thing in the world, right? Or you get those other people, like, you have to trick them. Trick them. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Well,
Yeah.
and there are some that see your call coming in and they're like, he's just calling me for wish me happy birthday, voicemail. You know, they just appreciate the fact that you did.
That's right. Look, we talk about Facebook all the time. Well, I sent them a message on Facebook. My birthday was in October. I had probably literally 800 messages. 800 messages on my birthday. I'm sorry, some of you probably sent me messages. I didn't read them. I didn't look at them. However, I got about 25 phone calls and 25 text messages, and I can pretty much tell you all 50 of those people. And no, Dean was not one of them.
But I will be next year.
All right.
No, but I will.
everybody stay tuned, all right? I'll let you know
It's
next
okay
year.
if you say no, you just have to follow it up with, but I will.
There you go. It's like, Dean, how you doing today?
No.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. He's been telling me that for 15 years. He's been doing unbelievable. Because it could be good or
Like
it could
the
be
market.
bad. Either way, it's unbelievable. I'm not lying. All right. So for me, it's 33 touches. You put your number here. The next thing I need to know is how much per touch. Well, if we're doing all of the math, and I still had that written on the board, I erased it too soon. If I still have that all on the board, I'm going to say, all right, the emails is 0, the phone calls is 0. How nice. The postcards, I'm sending 12 of them. They're about $1 a piece. That's $12. The handwritten thank you notes, by the time I put a stamp on them and mail them, they're about 50 cents a piece. 4 of those, that's $2. I'm spending $14 per 33 touch. So I take $14 divided by 33. I come up with a number. God knows what that number is. But we're going to say, if my memory serves me right, it's around 41 cents per touch. Everybody with me on that? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to get a little dose of reality. If for my business plan to work on the Sphere side, I need to have $350 per month budgeted for lead generation, and I say, no, I'm not there yet. I just don't have that. I'm not comfortable that I can spend that every month, right? Because here's the worst thing that happens. When you stop lead generating, you know the worst thing you can do to break your momentum? Stop. That's right. Stopping breaks your momentum. You go back to day one. So if you're like, well, I'll have it some months, I won't have it others, the number's too high. You need to get down to a number that you are confident that you can work with, okay? So basically, if I say that's too high, I'm going to need to come back up here, and I'm going to need to do a little bit of work, probably on this number first, the 41 cents for the cost per touch, okay? Now, how do you think I can bring that cost down? Well, first of all, what's my biggest expense? Postcards. Do I need to send the big postcards? I'd like to, because they have the best effect. But if I go down to the 4x6 postcard that's mailed at postcard rate for like 22 cents, I can send those cards for about 40 cents a piece. So maybe I'm going to switch over to those. And if I do that, maybe my cost goes down to 25 cents. And then as I scroll, I see that, $2.13, I need to get this. I need to be at like 175, 150, 175 a month. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to look to cut wherever I can here. Maybe the next cut I have to make, and you may not like this one, this is a really good one. This one helps you 2 different ways. The first way it's going to help you is this. I'm going to do this. Instead of sending out 12 postcards, I'm only going to send out 6. But every other month, instead of making 4 phone calls, I'm going to take that up to 6 as well. I'm going to take that up to 6. So in other words, this month I'm going to call you. Next month I'm going to send you a postcard. This month I'm going to call you. Next month I'm going to send you a postcard. Eventually I have this down to about 14, 15 cents. How'd that get over there? Okay. Fine. There we go. I'm going to get that down to about 15 cents. And I'm down to roughly where I need to be. If I'm not down to where I need to be, there's another thing I can do. If I am going to make 6 phone calls instead of 4, if I'm going to make 6 phone calls instead of 4, that 10 has got to increase. It has to be a better ratio. Would you agree? 2 extra phone calls is going to make my results better. Maybe I drop that down to 8. Not going to make a big difference as far as my numbers go because I'm adding more people to my sphere of influence anyway. Okay, but I want to make that adjustment right there. So I'm going to have a look and I'm going to say, no, I'm still too high. Okay, so now, it's really, I hate to say this, there's only one place left for you to go. Back to your economic tab, you're going to double check, see if there's anything you can do to improve these numbers a little bit, your ratios, okay? And if you feel like you're right where you need to be, guess what? This might not be the year to make 160. Maybe this is the year to make 140 or 150. You see what I'm saying? Because again, this isn't just a goal, this is a business plan, and if your plan does not match your budget, you can't change your budget, so you have to change your plan. That make sense to everybody? So you might need to make a little change there. We all good? Okay, so let me go back to page 2, and I'm going to change this back to a more realistic number. Oops. 41. Okay. Now let's have a look at this other side. Any questions, by the way, on the sphere of influence side? Okay, so basically I'm at a point where I'm spending 41 cents per touch 80% of my business is coming from my sphere, and it's about $275 a month, and I'm good with that. So now I move on to the other side. Where am I going to get these 7 sales from? What I've done here is, this is kind of a change I made this year. Basically, I've broken this up into 3 sections. The first section is farming or marketing, which is the traditional way that we've always marketed to our haven't mets. The second way is your internet lead generation, and the third way is what I'm just going to call other. Other, okay? Meaning, there are other things that you do to generate haven't met business, and you can just kind of group it all up here so you have some place to put it. So I'm going to start with the farm, which is very traditional. First of all, does everybody know what a farm is? Okay? Basically, I have a neighborhood where I'm going to send out a postcard a month. Maybe I'm going to knock on their doors twice a year, introduce myself. The purpose here is to take a bunch of haven't mets to get top of mind from them so that when they need a realtor, hopefully they will call me. Make sense? And in order to do this, first question I'm going to ask, again, it's in red. What percentage of your haven't met sales will come from your farm? I'd like about 25% of them to come from my farm. I've been farming for a year or two, and I'm ready to start seeing a couple of sales. Farming, there's 2 key words to farming that you can't forget if you're going to farm. Patience and consistency. Okay, you have to be patient and consistent. And over time, it will happen. Okay? So you're at the point where you're expecting a couple of sales to come out of that farm. So 25% of my sales are coming from my farm. That's 2. Next thing I'm going to ask you is this. In red, it says, how many people do you need in your farm to make 1 sale per year? Like when we were on the sphere side and I said I needed to get top of mind from 10 people to get 1 sale, the question now is, how many people in my farm do I need to get 1 sale? And again, the standard answer is roughly 75. Used to be 50, but for the same reason that 6 became 10, 50 is going to become 75. So I need roughly 75 people, and again, you can change that number. You might want to make yours 50, you might want to make yours 100. I know some people, I met with a guy yesterday, he's doing these customized letters, and he's seeing a better result. He's seeing a sale out of every 50 that he sends out. So he can change that to 50, okay? You might be seeing it takes you 100. It's totally up to you to put your number in there. It will then do the math for you and tell you, okay, well then you need 122 people in this farm to hit your goal. Next question is, how many farm touches per year are you sending? The standard is 12, 1 a month. Okay, so I said I'm going to send 12. And then the next question is, what's the price per touch? So if I'm sending out 84-cent postcards, I'm going to put 84 cents in there. Now with that said, I want to remind you of one quick thing. You should not, in my opinion, you should not be farming unless you are sending a postcard to everybody in your sphere. Everybody with me on that? Unless you've been farming for years, don't stop. But please, don't start spending money on your haven't mets when you're not spending that money on your mets first. I mean, think about it. If you think postcards and things like that are going to work on people that you don't know, aren't they going to work better on the people you do know? Okay? So please be careful. Don't start farming until you're ready to. However, if you already are farming, please continue to do so. All right, so basically, I know 25%. I'm going to say 1 out of every 75. I'm sending them 12 touches, and I'm spending 84 cents per touch. I move down to the next section. What percentage of your haven't met sales are going to come from internet leads? Let's talk quickly about internet leads. Who here knows the national average? What percentage of leads turn into a sale? Anybody? So if I give each of you 100 leads, what's the average we're going to close? If I give 6 people 100 leads each, 600 leads, how many sales do you think we're going to have out of that? 1 per 100. That's the average. Now, that does not mean that you're each going to sell 1. That means you're going to sell 6. I'm sorry, you're going to sell 3. You're going to sell 2. You're going to sell 1, and you 3 are going to sell 0. Okay. Now, if you are among the elites, you can sell 4 to 5 per 100. That's about as high as it's ever going to get. I was with somebody yesterday who told me he did 7%. And then he said, and then he kind of admitted to me a little bit later, well, that was my first year. Now I'm about 4 or 5, okay, which I still think is probably too high. The fact of the matter is, you're going to close 1 to 3, most likely. And you need to know which it is, okay? If you are really good at getting to that lead right away and following up with them for an incredibly long time, because we know what the problem with internet leads is, don't we? It's not that they're not any good, it's not that you can't make money with them, it's that we want to make the money right now, but most of those leads, the vast majority of them, are 6 to 18 months away from buying. And we don't have 6 to 18 months to chase. Is there anybody here who has the time to chase one lead for 6 to 18 months in the 50% chance that they're going to actually buy a house, and the probably 1 in 40 chance that they're going to buy it from you? Okay?
I'll take
Of course you will. So I want you to look at it this way. I'm going to give you another quick way of looking at it. There was a stat that I saw in 2016. There were 40 times more leads captured than houses sold in America. 40, which means there are 40 people capturing each lead. Now let's just say, first of all, let's just say that half of them are going to buy a house. So now you only have a 1 in 40 chance. Everybody with me on that? You have a 1 in 40 chance, all right? So half of them are only going to buy a house, so now you have a 1 in 80 chance. You still have got to be the one that actually gets that sale. Do you see why that number is so low? All right, don't let anybody tell you. I know people, there's one guy I know, he's actually in Rhode Island, he's claiming he's closing 30% of his Zillow leads. Ridiculous, okay? Here's the reason I'm saying this. There's a lot of new agents in this room, there's a lot of experienced agents who are looking to get over that hump. You know, you're at that like $3 to $6 million hump, and you just need that push over it, and you're thinking, I'm just gonna start spending money on this, and I'm gonna fall for it. Look, those numbers don't work. Be careful. Be careful what you're spending on, fair enough? But anyway, so you're gonna do 1 out of 100, 2 out of 100. If you're really good, you're gonna do 3 out of 100. That's up to you to decide. So the first question is this: what percentage of my sales is gonna come from internet leads? 50. All right, that's 3.5 sales. How many internet leads do I need to make one sale? Internet lead ratio. So in other words, if you think you're gonna close 2 out of 100, that means you need 50 leads to make a sale, right? If you're gonna close 1 out of 100, you put 100 here. If you're closing 2 out of 100, you put 50 here. If you're closing 3 out of 100, you put 33 here. Does that make sense? Closing 5 out of 100, you put 20 here. But I want to see that. All right, so basically, if I need 50, if I'm closing 2 out of 100, I'll say I'm right in between the 1 and the 3. I'm not terrible, I'm not great, I'm good. I'm going to put a 50 here. I need to buy 163 internet leads to make this happen. Everybody with me so far? Let me ask y'all something. How much you think it'll cost you per month to buy enough leads to give you 163 of them for the year? Can we all agree? I want to go on the lowest possible number that I can here, so that no one thinks I'm trying to trick them with high numbers to make you work your sphere. Can we agree that if for $250 a month, you could get 163 leads at the end of the year? Would most of you not jump on that? I would. 250, can we agree that that's about rock bottom low pricing? Fair enough? Okay, so I'm going to put $250 here. Good. Now we're going to move down to this final category, which is other. And what the other category is like something else that you're spending money on. Okay, for example, a bridal show. I do 2 bridal shows a year. Okay, and what I have determined is for every bridal show, for every 200 names that I capture, because you're raffling off a TV or something, right? You work through those leads, and every 200 names that I capture, I sell 1 house. Okay, it costs me $6,000 to do these 2 bridal shows. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say to myself, all right, well, first of all, I'm going to need to sell 2 houses from other, because my first 2, farming and farming and internet lead gen, are only accounting for 75% of what I need to do. I need to sell 2 more houses, which means 25% of my business needs to come from other. Okay? Next, I'm going to say, all right, how many other leads do I need per sale? Well, I know I need 200, which means I need 326 leads. By the way, if these numbers don't look right to you, it's because there's rounding off going on here. Okay? So I need 326 other leads, which means I'm going to say, well, I'm not going to do that with 1 bridal show. I need to do 2. I need to do 2 this year to make this happen. So basically, instead of $3,000, I'm going to spend $6,000. And I'm going to break that up monthly. $6,000 divided by 12 is $500 a month. This make sense to everybody? Okay? So, and I'm gonna leave that number low. I'm just gonna say it's $200 per month, okay? Because hopefully you're not gonna spend $6,000 on 300 leads to get 2 sales, I hope, okay? So it's a bad example, but it's an example, all right? I need a better example, Dean. Why wouldn't we do
But it's a
that?
great example for holding it accountable.
Yeah, you
know,
better believe it is.
If you look at $6,000 to get 2 sales and your average commission is $3,000, all you did was break even,
That's right.
you know?
That's
So
right, you got it.
It really
And
comes
you know
down
what?
to
I
planning.
make sales. People said about about the internet lead company. It pays for itself. Is that why you're in this business, to
Right,
break even?
yeah.
Are you serious? So you're willing to put 10 grand on the line to break even? No way. It's nuts. All right. So basically, let's have a look. Now I'm going to spend another $552 a month on my Habit Meds for a total of $890 a month. Now I want to show you the value in working your sphere versus working your Habit Meds. So let's go back to the top, a quick refresher. 26 sales versus 7 sales. Everybody good with that? 26 sales are going to cost me $338 a month. The 7 sales are going to cost me almost double that. And these are harder to close. This is the grunt work. So I'm paying more for less and I'm working harder to do it. So if your business is living on the right side of this page, I'm going to just beg you to get to the left side of this page. Because watch this. Let's just say I get to the point where I'm busy. Okay, I am busy and I am ready to just leverage out my business. And I already know, because I have team members and whatnot, I know that when I'm spending money on this side, I'm going to get results. Okay, I want to double. Oh, I'm sorry, I want half and half now. I want 50% coming from my sphere, 50% coming from my Habit Meds, because I am leveraging myself fully now. Everybody knows what leveraging is, right? I'm leveraging fully now. Now, first thing that happened was I only went 16 to 16. Now watch this. I dropped from 27 sales down to 16 sales. Okay? And watch how much that went down. What, 40 bucks? It went down by about $40, right? Not even that much. It was $30, okay? It only went down by about $30. That's it. But now let's look at this side. First of all, 25% is now 4. So now instead of having like 150 people in my farm, I have to have 300 people in it, which means I'm spending twice as much on farming. Now let's move down to the next column. Now here's the thing. In order for me to now, instead of needing 160 leads, I think it was, I now need 407. Can I still do that on $250 a month? No. I'm going to have to say I'm going up by about, let's see, more than doubling, so 500. Let's say about $650 a month, and I think we can all agree I am still ridiculously low on this price. Can we all agree on that? Yeah. That's why that didn't work last time, Dean, okay? You have to manually make that change. All right, next, I'm going to say, all right, now hold on. Now I need 800 leads. I couldn't do that with 2 shows. Now I need to do it with 4, which means this $200 per month is now, whoops, $400 per month. So while one column went down by 30 bucks a month, the other one tripled. Have fun with your Habit Meds. Everybody good with this? Any questions? Okay. For sake of time, just very quickly, I'm going to change this back so that when I get to the next page, we're working off of more realistic numbers. Okay, now we're going to move to tab 3, budget. Budget. And again, let me blow this up for you. And it works just like the other page did, okay? Anything in red, you can change. Anything in black, you can't change. And we have this broken down into columns. The first column is all of the expense categories that you will need, plus 3 named other, which are in red, so you can add anything that's not here for yourself, okay? And what we're going to do is, we're going to figure in roughly what percentage of our GCI we're spending on each category, and it will tell us our yearly and our monthly spend. Does that make sense to everybody? So, for example, if you have salaries, I'm going to add, your first question should be this: how much am I spending per month on salaries? I'm spending about $1,000 per month. I have a part-time person, I'm giving her $1,000. Okay, great. First of all, the numbers out of here represent the maximum that you should be spending in each category. So hopefully you're not going over these numbers. If you are, you're gonna have to take away from somewhere else or figure out why you're over. You may have like the greatest, most dynamite administrator in the world, and that person's getting more than 12% of the GCI. That's fine. Let's say they're getting 15%. Great. 3% has to come out of somewhere else. Fair enough? Okay? So I'm spending $1,000 a month. Well, right now at 12%, I'd be spending $2,100 a month. Now, this part is, unfortunately, you have to do a little trial and error here, okay? So I'm going to look at 12%, so I'm spending roughly half of that. So if I made this 6%, that would be about $1,050 a month. So I'm going to try about 5.5%. Oops, a little too low. And I'm going to get that right around $1,000 a month. Now, if you're off by a few dollars, don't worry about it. Everybody with me on this? Okay, now if you have zero salary, what do you think you're going to put there? Zero. Okay? Now, lead generation, I'm allowed to spend up to 10% of my GCI. Why? Because that's money that's going to come back to me if I'm doing it right. Which means I could be spending as much as $1,747 per month. Well, let's look. Let's go back to our lead gen, and we see that we're spending $891 because this is a realtor who's starting to leverage himself. So we're spending a good chunk of that profit, of that GCI, I should say, on lead gen. So I'm at about $900 a month here. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to work this number until I'm at about $900 a month. So I'm going to go from 10 to about 5, and I'm at $873. So again, I'm not going to do this for all of them, but let's just say 5.2. There we go, I'm at about $900. Everybody with me on this? Mm-hmm. Next, I'm going to go to occupancy. Anybody pays for a desk space somewhere? Then you will figure out, again, how much you're paying per month, and you'll adjust the number until your monthly number sort of matches it. If you're not, you're going to put a 0 there. Your technology fees, yeah, that's right about 1%. I'm going to put my phone in here, 1%. My supplies are going to be 0.5%, whatever it may be. I save money every year to go to the NAR trip or something like that, right? I break that down monthly. And I'm going to say to myself, yeah, that's going to be about, oops, okay, 0.8%, whatever it may be. And I'm going to come down here. Now, those of you who want to figure your taxes in here, come to line 14, change the word other to taxes, and then put in whatever percentage your accountant or whoever it is told you to put there. Fair enough? That's why that number is bigger. When you're done, at the bottom, it's going to say, what's your total expenses? My total expenses in this example came up to exactly 10%. Now, if I had 30% here for taxes, that would obviously be 40%. Once you know your number, you need to go back to your economic model at the bottom of the page where we started, okay? And you're going to go back to expenses on line 16. Remember I told you just putting you're putting sort of a placeholder number in there, line 16, and you're going to change that to 10%. You're going to put in your actual expenses based on the GCI required for this plan. Unfortunately, it has to be done this way. I cannot take it, you have to already know the GCI in order to figure this out. That's why we have to go back to it, because if not, we get an error that I became very familiar with called zero number value. And boy, was that driving me crazy until I figured this out. All right, so now we put our number in there. Now, there's going to be slight adjustments made here, but nothing that's really life-changing. As long as you weren't using, 10% and then decided to add your taxes and change it to 40%, now you're going to see significantly different numbers. Everybody with me on that? Any questions on what we're doing with the expenses? No? We're good? Okay. So now, let's go back to that budget tab really quick. So we have our total budget, and now I am going to scroll down, and I'm going to show you your most important numbers. This is just a quick reference. It says, these are the numbers that are most important to me. I need to go on 25 listing appointments this year. I need to go on 41 buyer appointments. I need to do 30 transactions. I need $193,000 in GCI, and I need a total of 193 METs in my sphere of influence. In other words, I need 193 people that have top of mind, is what I should be saying there, because just having them in your database doesn't do it. Any questions on that? That's just for reference, because I think it's important that somewhere in your plan, you should be able to look and just see your most important numbers. Fair enough? Okay, let's move on to the final page, and this is the page, I have to do this last, because this is the page that scares everybody. It's a word we don't like, it's called accountability. Now, as you know, like Dean said, accountability, finding a way for realtors to hold themselves accountable is not an easy task. There are hundreds of these things out there, and I've always tried, I like easy. I have learned that if my accountability and my number tracking isn't easy, I simply won't do it. And in order to make it easy, we tend to make it harder and harder and harder. Anybody ever tangled with a 411, for example? Most of us have forgotten what that even is, so. This is a big, ugly piece of paper. Notice that you had 3 pages that were on letter size, and then one of them that's on legal size. This is on legal size because I want you to be able to print it. And once a month, I want you to print this 4th tab. And I want you to stick it on your wall somewhere. Okay? I want you to stick it on your wall because this is your number tracking and your accountability. So as ugly as this looks, let's have a quick look at it, okay? You're going to see that it's actually super easy. The reason it looks so ugly is because we have every month of the year here. So all of this is just, all you're focusing on this whole thing, you're going to focus on one column. That's it. So in January, you're focusing on January. That's it, okay? So now, let me zoom this in. There we go. So basically, top section, this is where you're going to track your numbers. Remember, at the beginning of this class, I started off by saying, you know, you're going to list roughly this many of the ones that you go on the appointment for, and you're going to close on this many of those listings, and we're taking averages and guesses, basically. Once you fill this out for a year, you will have actual numbers to put in there, because look, here's your buyer appointments, buyers listed, buyers closed. Listing appointments, listings listed, and listings closed. Okay, so what's going to happen is this. At the end of January, you're going to come over to January, and you're going to say, all right, how many people did I add to my sphere this month? I added 2. And what it did was, it added to your year-to-date actual, which compares to your annual goal, and it shows you that you have 48 to go. Everybody with me on that? Okay. How many buyer appointments did I go on this month? I went on 3. I listed 2. Now those 2 that I listed, one of them was from these 3, but one of them was from 3 months ago. That's fine. In other words, I don't care. The listing, the appointment and the listing don't have to be in the same month, because this is an annual chart that we're making, okay? Then I'm going to say, well, I had 2 buyer closings this month as well. I went on 3 listing appointments. I listed 2 of the houses, and I had 2 closings. I did $1 million in GCI. I'm sorry, in volume, and in GCI I did, I don't know, 200, I'm sorry, $20,000, okay? Where do you get your GCI number? I'm sure it's right on the stub of your commission check, right, Dean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
GCI must be on there, okay? You know your volume.
And we have it right in the agent panel as well.
Okay, you get it right on the
reference your numbers
agent panel?
right in your agent
Perfect.
panel. For any of your
Perfect.
averages, for any, any numbers like that, it's all trackable right in the agent panel.
There you go, beautiful. All right, does everybody understand this? Can you see how important this is? Because here's where you're going to find what's wrong with your business. This is where you find your holes. You may think you're doing great on listing appointments, and then you find out, I'm listing way less than I thought I was. Or worse, I have all these buyer appointments, but I only had 5 buyer closings all year. This is where you're going to find your problems, and it's how you're going to fill in your business plan next year. Does that make sense? The second section to me is really, really important. Because again, I'm a lead gen guy, okay? And I don't think there's any other way for you to work this business than to be able to know what your monthly goal is. First of all, what are your lead generating activities? And what is your monthly goal for each of them? And then you just come over to January and you type in what you did. And then you print it and you stick it on your wall, because you can always do better next month. So for example, all of these this whole section's in red, except for where the math is actually happening, okay? So you can change these to whatever you want, but I start with what I think is the most important one, which is sphere calls. Now, if I'm doing, 250 people in my sphere, I'm calling them each 4 times a year. That's 1,000 calls divided by 12 months. It's about 82 or something calls per month. So I'm going to set a monthly goal for sphere calls, monthly goal of 82. I'm a little off. Maybe it's 86. I don't remember. Whatever. It's probably 84, but I'm done. Anyway, so I'm gonna say I'm gonna make about 1,000 calls per year. And again, in January, whatever I put in, whatever I made, I'm gonna put it in. It's gonna give me my actual number, and it's gonna bring down my plus or minus for me. Next, I have circle marketing calls. When I coach, I have a deal with anybody that I coach with. I'm not coaching you unless you make 200 circle marketing calls per month. 200, okay? So that's their goal. I want to make sure that I'm doing at least 24 open houses this year. Oops. 2 a month makes 24 for the year, okay? Also, now again, I just put these in as an example. I changed these. I'm going to upload a change. You have the changed ones, so you're all set. Instead of putting FSBO and expireds here, what I did was just as an example, and again, because these can all change, I put Zillow here. So in other words, whatever you're doing, I don't care what it is, FSBOs, expired, Zillow, whatever it may be, you should have 4 entries for it. So for example, if you're using Zillow, I'm going to say Zillow, lead, captured, Zillow, appointment. In other words, I got the appointment from one of those leads. Zillow, contract, I got either a buyer or a seller contract, and of course, the one that matters most, Zillow closings. Everybody with me? I want to know how I'm doing. See, here's the thing. I could capture 2,000 internet leads and think I'm doing great with those because I have business coming in from 100 different places, and until I track, I say, wow, I captured 2,000 leads and I only went on 4 appointments. And I only listed one of them. And it didn't close. So my investment on 2,000 leads netted me a whole lot of wasted time and money, right? So you need to know all 4 of these things. So whatever you're going to put, see, that's like add more, add more, add more, add more, add more. You can add as many as you want here, okay? But make sure that you're doing it lead captured, appointment, contract, closing. Does that make sense to everybody? And once you're done, print it. So January, you put your numbers in. February, you put your numbers in. You could save, you move on for the year. I promise you, this is the easiest way to both track your numbers and hold yourself accountable. And honestly, accountability with yourself is great. Accountability with a partner is even better. Pick someone, send your sheet to each other once a month. Dean, anything you'd like to add?
Are you all set
I'm
with
good,
each page?
yes, I'm good. That's
Okay.
all I have, everybody. Thank you
Okay.
very, very much. Appreciate it.
The only thing I want to add, because there's not much we can add, because it's information overload. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Can we agree that if you don't use Excel a lot, you probably got lost in the mix about an hour ago? Don't get overwhelmed by this. This should be easy to follow. If you need some help with Excel, come see us and we can help with that as well. Because Nivea is excellent with Excel. But don't get caught up in this. Some of you will spend 4 hours a day trying to figure out this Excel spreadsheet.
This is meant for
It's
5
not
minutes a
about
month.
but it's not about this tracking mechanism. It's about the concept of what this represents. So do it manually. When I showed you the perfect week at the beginning of the session, that's a simple way of writing down what you need to do. This is simple once you get the concept and if you're familiar with the program. The key is, when we talk about the strategic plan, we had it up on the screen, you know, we have a strategic plan, it's called doing things. Get out and do things. Don't get caught up in this. This is an amazing tool. We're going to send you the link for this, although it's available on the website like Greg showed, paygetwiththetimes.com. But we're going to send it out to you, and we'll also send you the sample of the perfect week schedule. But don't get so caught up in it that you're frozen with fear that you're not doing it. Like you had said, that, you know, you go out and do the business, so you know, and we talked earlier, you know, with accounting and finance, you go out and make the money. Then you figure out how to track it and how to hold it accountable. Don't not do it because you're constantly in the state of preparation. I call that being a preppy. Some people are so busy preparing to act that they never get out and do it. Get out and do it. Then start tracking it and see what you then need to do on top of it. But don't get so bogged down with it. This is amazing. Greg, it's amazing, and that's why we have you here.
Thank you.
But some might get overwhelmed or not even know what numbers to put into it. This might be really super beneficial next year, now that you know what you did and how you went out and did it, okay? It's the concept of it. It's the simple concept of doing the tasks that are needed to accomplish the ultimate goal. And knowing your big why and what that goal is.
And what's my big why?
Getting business for that.
Keep it off me. Thank you. Sorry, it was right there for you, Dean,
Referrals.
sorry.
Referrals and repeat clients. There we go. So any other questions? We're very mindful of your time and we appreciate you being here. Any questions to round it out?
I just have
Anyone
a
comatose?
simple question.
Yes.
I haven't heard that. Simple, Circle Market Calls, is that around your listings?
Yeah, Circle is around, not necessarily your listing, it's around a listing. This house was listed in your neighborhood, here's how much it costs. By the way, do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell in your neighborhood? Hey, this house in your neighborhood sold for 10% over asking price in 14 days. Just want to let you know your neighborhood's really hot right now, and the other reason I'm calling is to find out if you or any of your neighbors are interested in taking advantage of this market. Yeah.
And it's either a phone call if you're cross-referencing do not call, or if you're knocking on the door. 'Cause
Yeah, same
as I
way.
say,
Same
there's
thing,
no,
yeah.
there's not a do not knock list.
That's right.
They haven't come up with that.
And people are much friendlier face to face. You know, people yell and swear at you and hang up on you on the phone, but you walk up to their door smiling, they're gonna be much nicer to you. Much, much nicer.
Yeah,
Please
don't
most
let
of
them
them.
hang up, don't let them slam the door in your face, just knock again and say, I'm sorry, your door closed. I didn't get a chance to finish what I was saying, okay? True story. I was doing this and I learned not to let people hang up on me. I was making a call, they hung up on me. And I called them back. And I said, you know, I'm so sorry. We must have gotten disconnected. And he said, no, Dean, I hung up on you. And I'm doing it again. Click. But I called him back. So with that, thank you guys. Thank you for being here, Greg. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Thanks for
everybody.
making the time. Whatever we can do to help you with this business planning, see us, see me. Let's schedule the time. I want to hone it down and help you make it personal to you. I'm dedicated to that. So thanks for being here. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, everybody. Take a minute to meet Keith and Ralphie, they're nice guys, so